everybody, I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into another episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to issue major cosmic spoilers. We are going to be going over everything that happened in episode 2 of the Ms. Marvel series. So if you haven't checked that episode out yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disney Plus, watch that, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
Joining with me to break down everything from episode 2 of the Ms. Marvel series, it's Jon Jon Rico!
Hello.
Hello there!
How are we doing?
Doing pretty good. It is getting difficult having double releases on the same day with everything right now.
It's so good, though.
We're going to start throwing movies in the mix, too. So we're going to get, like, double releases on Wednesday, then Thursday movie premieres. So much stuff to talk about this summer.
It's gonna be a wild summer, so buckle up.
Oh boy, it's gonna be fun. Live recaps incoming. Anyway, we're here to talk about episode 2 of Ms. Marvel. So instant reactions and you know, anything that I can think of that connects to other stuff. But I just wanted to say, really like this episode. Solid episode 2. I liked it just as much as the premiere. And you know what? I have one thing to say about it that I feel like sums up this episode. Training montage! Who doesn't love a good superhero training montage? And this is no exception. I thought this one was great. We had everything. We had her, you know, trying out her powers and kind of failing, slowly kind of getting the grasp of them, into her actually having to save somebody and use the skills that she had already trained with. And, you know, saving them, maybe not the cleanest, kind of caught him here and there, and it's kind of gently fell.
Got a little better.
Yeah, could have got a little bit better. It kind of gently helped him fall, but saved his life. I mean, nonetheless. Anyway, but I love a training montage. I think there's so many examples of training montages that we've had, and I think, you know, this is up there with all of those. We got some of the humor. We got some of the important stuff of her, you know, trying to figure out her powers and a lot of things, like little notes and things that we're going to go over more in the takeaways and stuff like that lead to hopefully bigger things in the rest of the series, and maybe even her role in the MCU, because we know she's going to have a part to play in the upcoming Marvels movie also. So there's a lot of stuff in there and in this episode in general that I'm really excited to talk about. But before we get any further, Rico, what were some of your instant reactions for episode 2?
Yeah, I thought actually I really liked this episode a lot. I think I liked it a little bit more than the premiere. I think, of course, because we're getting a little bit more into the overall bigger picture of the story of the series. You were talking about the training montage, though. Like that, what I loved about all of that was it kind of gives me this whole, like, the movie Shazam, that whole thing of Billy learning to use his powers, and that whole training montage sequence. Like you said, like I love a good training montage sequence. A superhero training montage sequence is even better, especially when done in a fun comedic way. One of my favorite things about this show is like the Shazam / Spider-Man vibes I get from this character. Obviously being young kids who get superpowers and still having to deal with things like high school and even normal everyday things. I really like how, like, whenever we're following Kamala and her friends, it's just like following Peter and his friends in the Spider-Man movies. So yeah, like for people who felt like the show was maybe more directed towards kids, I would say more it's about kids in that age group, but it's no different than the Spider-Man movies. Except maybe, you know, just the stakes are just a little bit lower because, of course, it's just this person just learning her powers for the very first time. Right. So we're not gonna expect this little high school girl to go out and be fighting terrorist organizations right off the bat. But I love that we are getting hints of a very bigger world that she could perhaps be a part of. And that's also kind of like the Billy aspect of it. Like when he got his powers, he didn't realize he was part of this bigger god like kind of like a setup that he's been put into. So I really like the way they're kind of handling this character, and again, yeah, what they can do with her going forward is going to be even more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only thing I'm absolutely in agreement with you with the Shazam, and even more so Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming vibes
Oh
was
yeah.
what I was getting. And it was because we in this episode, and I know in the first episode, it was kind of opening on this character, we're finding a little bit, but we kind of got right into it, I felt like, with the first episode. And with this one, we kind of had a little bit more of day-to-day her stuff. So like
Mhm.
we had, her going to a party. We had Peter going to a party at Homecoming. We had like her like some daily life stuff that she was doing, even going
Yeah,
to a
Zoe's
mosque.
kinda like her Flash in a sense,
Exactly.
like,
Exactly.
it's not a bully, but it's kinda like this, like, friendly rivalry kinda thing that they
Right.
have, but they have, like, a weird, like, underlying respect for each other at the same time.
Oh, it works out perfectly
Mhm.
as Zoe being like Flash, because Zoe's bragging that she got saved by what was the name she gave her? Crap, why can't I think of this? What was the
Oh,
name? Uh uh uh
I can't remember what they
why
called her
can't I
now.
think of
Yeah,
it?
I can't remember now, dang
No!
it.
But she dubs the name, and then later we have somebody else who obviously follows Zoe on Instagram or one of her
Mhm.
social media accounts, who points up while while Kamala is trying to save
Oh,
the
the Hard
human.
Light,
No,
eh,
Hardlight is what she named
what's she
her
called? Oh,
power.
I thought they called her, like, Hard Light Girl or something like
No, it was like
that.
it was definitely light. It was light something. I can't think of
Yeah.
it. Put it
Okay,
in the
yeah,
comments.
well,
Remind
yeah,
us.
if
Yeah.
you guys remember, please let us know.
But it totally mirrors when Flash in throughout the trilogy is saying how he likes Spider-Man better. Like even in Far From Home when he's saying Spider-Man's
Mhm.
better than Mysterio.
Yeah.
And then when he writes the book in No Way Home about being it was called Flashpoint, about being friends with Peter Parker, Spider-Man. But I thought it was really funny,
Yeah,
and it would be a
that's really
really
funny.
funny thing if and when Zoe finds out that the superhero is actually Kamala, because it would just be like this one of these. She's supposed to be the popular girl type of thing, and Kamala
Mhm.
is not the popular in the popular
Yeah,
crowd.
and Kamala does contemplate, like, exposing herself just,
Yeah,
"Hey, but 1,000,000 followers, like, I'd like to get 1,000,000 followers."
I like that Bruno's the voice of reason. He's kind of like, yeah, but
Of course.
secret identity is a secret identity for a reason,
Yeah.
like that. But do you want to get into some big takeaways?
Mhm.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick this off. I'm gonna give all of my takeaways together, and then we can get to your takeaways. I just think it'll be easier because mine are kind of all over the place, and yours are kind of connected. So I don't want to interrupt yours. Anyway, the first big thing, and it was part of the training montage. And like I said, there was so many little things that can lead to bigger things that were just part of the training montage, but in the episode in general. So the first thing we get that I thought was really important is that Bruno is kind of like analyzing Kamala as she's training and all this stuff. And he says at some point that the bangle that she's wearing is not where the power's coming from. It's more that the power's coming from inside her, and the bangle might just be kind of activating something that she has. So this is awesome news. I mean, some other content creators were kind of predicting this from the beginning. Like, what if this is just something that kind of starts her off, and
Mhm.
then she like is not wearing that anymore, type of thing, and she just gets something unlocked. I know in the comics was it a gas that unlocked her powers?
I think it was like a Terrigen Mist bomb that
Right, right.
from Thanos, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, she had something that unlocked powers, type of thing. And so maybe
Mhm.
this is that entry point into how we get that. But I just thought that was a really cool. I mean, it was a very quick thing during the montage itself. And I mean it's super important moving forward. And I'm excited to see kind of where that leads. We don't really know yet where it leads, but I'm excited to see kind of what they do with that. I don't know if it's going to go like mutant direction, because eventually we're going to have mutants in the MCU, or if it's going to go Inhuman, or if it's going to go anything. I just don't know. Next thing I had is we had more Agent Cleary and damage control in this episode
Mhm.
than I thought we were even going to have. Like I thought maybe we'd get a little snippet, because I thought maybe that storyline was kind of going to be a subplot. But not only that, not only did we have Agent Cleary, but we had them using Stark Tech drones. I guess tracking her because I identified her when she was in the alleyway. I'm guessing this is Stark Tech like that they weren't given. I understand that you told me like when we were discussing everything before we started recording that, Stark was in charge of damage control, but I'm wondering if it's because in No Way Home they take, all the Stark tech basically. So I'm wondering if it's just repurposed drones from Edith and that whole system type of thing. I don't know how many they have. I mean, at a certain point, I've got to think that Stark Tech is going to be finite. Like, there's nobody else that's creating Stark Tech anymore. Like, I get that we're going to have an Ironheart series, so we have other people in the MCU that are very smart and to the point where they're going to be able to make other Iron Man like tech and stuff like that. But I wonder how many of these drones they have. If it's like a system where like it was like the Edith system where they have a crap load of them. But it's just very interesting to see kind of, I'm interested to see if more Stark Tech plays a role through damage control moving forward because now we know they're tracking her. They're trying to find her, and it's not for good reasons. They were even trying to get Zoe to say that
they were trying to kind of like coerce
human,
her.
Yeah, they were trying to say that the enhanced human tried to murder
kill her.
Yeah. And she was like, no, they saved my life type of thing. So obviously they're not looking for her to kind of recruit her. They're obviously trying to either capture her or worse. So I'm really interested to see like where this is going to go in the series moving forward. And those are my big takeaways. But Rico, what'd you have for big takeaways?
First off, I did want to mention the Stark Tech drones. I could have swore at the end of Far From Home that he had kind of destroyed all of them at the end with his own command with the Edith classes.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is I wonder if that was just that cluster because we saw them all come out from a satellite thing that was in like Earth orbit. So I'm wondering if like maybe Tony had, those were the Edith controlled ones, but I'm wondering if he had, other like supply banks.
I think being that damage control is a Stark organization that they probably have their own set of drones for whatever purposes they need them for. We haven't really seen like other than like cleaning up wreckage from other places like normal hands that get on it. We don't really know what their other duties are now. We're seeing that now with Cleary, of course, and what they're doing. But yeah, so that's kind of one thing I did think about as well. But so there's the one dinner scene where they're talking about the partition stuff like that, and getting more of a Kamala's family history and her grandmother and her great grandmother, who mom does not talk about her. Talking about how they brought great shame on their family and stuff like that. So that right there, I leads me to believe that there's something more, of course, to her, not necessarily her grandmother, but her mother that we don't know yet. You kind of touched on it a little bit early on, but I wonder if this is their kind of way of leading us into her Kree/Inhuman background. And then when she saved the little boy, and she kind of has the kind of thing that makes her kind of like flub that moment a little bit is she has like this vision of, I'm assuming it's her great grandmother. I'm not sure who it was supposed to be, because then when she's running away from damage control, she gets miraculously picked up by Cameron, and she goes, "Hey, meet my mother," and it's that woman.
Yeah, so she goes, "I've been waiting to meet you for a while now," is what she said.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So obviously, who are Cameron and his mom really? Like, is there more to the story that, of course, we're being led on? Of course there is. But I wonder if the thing that brought shame to a family in Kamala's mother's eyes, I guess more so, like more than anyone else, is that her great grandmother maybe had like an affair with a Kree, something like that, and maybe there's some Kree DNA in her, and that's probably the one thing. Like maybe the one thing that her mother resents her for is the fact that there's that no faith in the marriage before. Like there was an affair that led to this bloodline of hers. Or if we learn that Inhumans were around, like I mentioned last week, the older generation of heroes. What if Inhumans were a thing of the past and they're just not a thing that we know about in today's world? but there's still some around there, and then of course it's passed on genetically, almost kind of like a mutant gene in a way.
Right.
So yeah, I think the way that this show is um just making us ask all these questions is the greatest part about it. Like obviously they're not going to do everything, you know, by the book, literally by the comic books. They're going to take the best aspects of the books and formulate them in a way that makes them MCU appropriate, and I really love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I mean we do even get some directed like stuff right lifted from comics like when Kamala's offered a drink during the
Mhm.
party and then she takes a sip of it and finds out there's alcohol in it and spits it
Am I
out.
drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny. I love all the little character moments with her. She's so good.
And by the way, I didn't mention this last episode. Apparently, there was a QR code that if you scanned it, it gave you the first episode or the first
Oh,
issue of Miss Marvel.
oh man, Danny's gonna be on QR code hunts now.
Now I gotta look. I didn't see one. I watched the second episode twice. I didn't see one, but sure as hell gonna go back and check. And if you found it, put it in the comments below. Let me know when to go look for it.
Watching you do it.
I'm trying to build my catalog of Marvel comics just by watching the episodes. But you want to do some predictions?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you kick us off? I really like your prediction, and I cannot wait to hear you talk about it. So here we go. You kick us off.
Yeah. So there was the scene with Bruno and I only know him as Gabe right now. I can't remember his last name. Was it Mr. Davis or something like that? The counselor, basically.
The guidance counselor. Yeah.
Yeah, the counselor. I wish I could remember his name. But he basically talks about how he got into Caltech and how Bruno's talking about how he might not want to go there. It's all the way in California and stuff like that. And of course he tells him like, bro, you'd be dumb to not do this. Like, I don't know why you're not doing this.
He goes, have you ever watched a movie? And he goes, yeah, I've watched.
Yeah.
Movie. He goes, like, this is that part in the movie, like,
you're gonna be a Jedi.
You want to be a Jedi? I saw
that.
Definitely gonna talk.
This is your moment. Like the moment the character is waiting for, that's that moment. And like he goes, yeah, I understand that. And then you go, but okay, so I think we're seeing a lot of more people show up on California now in the MCU. We got Shang-Chi, of course. Ant-Man's been established there for a while. So if you're gonna set up this whole, West Coast Avengers thing, and you're gonna give Kamala a big role in the MCU going forward, she's not gonna do it alone. She's gonna have her boy Bruno with her because obviously he's a tech genius at his age already. He's making like homemade basically series for people,
Yeah,
and security cameras and stuff like that. So imagine if he does go to Caltech, or even like on a bigger scale, he's utilized as like a tool for the West Coast Avengers and the tech division and something like that. I really like the what they can do with this character. Like, we're setting up the future generation, not just with heroes, but like their help as well, obviously. So like if Kamala wants to follow her or follow him all the way to California, that's one discussion. But either way, you're setting Bruno up to have a role in the MCU, with or without Kamala. Like he has a purpose in this regard, no matter what. So I'm really excited to see what we're gonna do with him, like more in the series, of course. And also, now that we've met Imran and this mystery great grandmother, maybe not great grandmother lady, now it definitely kind of makes sense that we're like Kamala's gonna get like the more official suit, at least. Like, who's gonna make this suit for her all of a sudden? Like, obviously her cosplay making ability is more rely on Bruno, and it's not gonna be made of cardboard. So, but yeah, now I see like how she can get her like her more official suit. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we're actually getting the more, again, setting up the bigger picture for Kamala.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I didn't put down a prediction more because like I'm kind of just reacting to what's happened in this episode. So just like you're saying, I'm wondering if Bruno's not gonna go to California in this situation. I mean, I know that Kamala would obviously tell him that he needs to go. This is something he needs to do. He's only going to be gone for a semester type of thing. But I'm wondering, where that decision is going to be, because he plays such a big, like you said, he plays such a big part in, her training, in,
Yeah.
in her what is probably going to lead down the line
Her
to
journey.
gadgets, yeah, stuff in general. So he's playing a very important role. So I don't know if we're gonna see him go to California. It might just be like a conscious choice that he's not gonna go. But when I saw you write that as a prediction, I am wondering if we get a bigger role for Bruno in the MCU. Like, obviously he's going to always be connected to Kamala, but I am wondering if like, I know we're getting an Ironheart series. The name Iron Lad has been thrown around multiple times too. We have Bruno, who is very, very tech savvy and very good at creating stuff. So I'm wondering if we can get some sort of like, Bruno's able to kind of help all of these people. Because like, think about if Bruno, Kamala, and Ironheart kind of ended up like working together, type of thing. Like the tech that Bruno could come up with and work together with that, like having that as a connection in the Young Avengers type of thing, or
Right. And
like
here's
that.
a connection I even thought of right now, because we have Riri Williams coming in Ironheart, and then of course we have Black Panther 2, but
Yep.
they at the end of Black Panther 1 they established the outreach center in Oakland, another California location. But imagine those tech minds all in one little area. Like this
Yeah.
time, Shuri being the older one, passing down her knowledge to someone like Bruno and Riri and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
again, you're literally setting them a whole different kind of group dynamic here, and it's very
Yeah.
interesting.
And especially with all that kind of tech and materials and resources that Shuri could help out Riri Williams and Bruno and stuff like that. Because I mean,
Other
if you
people, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, the sky's the limit. It's really exciting to see, just like you said, not only superheroes kind of role, but like the tech people's roles also in the MCU, to kind of see like, where can we connect these dots, because it's really cool to think about. And of course, I'm wondering what Kamala's ancestry is going to have to do with what her powers are and how it's being unlocked by this bangle and stuff like that. I mean, obviously that's a very big question that I can't wait to find the answer to. But yeah, it's a great second episode, because just like you said, when an episode can leave us with a bunch of questions that we can sit here and kind of theorize about, that's a good episode. It gets a conversation going. The sky's the limit on exactly what can happen, and I'm really excited to see, episode 3 and the rest of the series. I think it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of episode 2, and how do you think Kamala's powers are connected to her ancestry? And what do you think Bruno's going to do? Is he going to like agree to go to California for a semester and give up kind of Kamala's journey, or do you think he's going to, skip it and think that it's more important to kind of help Kamala get this foundation of training and stuff like that in, because it's very important with her journey overall, is getting the good foundation as a superhero at the beginning. But anyway, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest video updates. Bye, everybody!